right, so this is a drill. It's not profound or anything. It's not something that people don't do, but I like it just because it kind of uh, inherently has a lot of task involved for the context of what we're shooting, right, or how we're shooting. So most of us are, safe to say, most of us are shooting to defend ourselves or others, right? So there's a lot involved in that. But I can generally say that you probably want to do it fast and acceptably accurate. What does that mean? Well, fast, I mean, fast as it needs to happen, as fast as you can make it happen, safe and effectively, which is also subjective, but we get the gist, right? And then accuracy, acceptable accuracy, I mean, how big is the target? Where are you trying to hit? Right, at the distance that you're at right now, 4 yards on this target, you can pretty much just not be very eagle eye on your sights, put it towards the center of this 10 right here, and you'll hit somewhere in here, assuming that you have that reliable, consistent grip that we talked about. Meaning the gun's just, you're not having to reconfigure the gun every time I press the trigger. And assuming whatever your grip is doing and whatever your trigger finger is doing is not moving the gun too much, where it's hard to keep the gun aligned or realign it when it comes out of alignment, right? Assuming all that's happening, right? So the doubles drill that a lot of people do, me and Paul, and we geek out talking about this stuff and who's teaching this and how they're teaching it and what things we've learned, because we said this earlier, I'm a continuous student. I'm always trying to figure out a better way that I can explain something, or how can I benefit you more, right? I think most teachers, most coaches are thinking that way. How can I benefit you more, right? So we always, you know, we go around the sun and then we come back and then same old shit is here, and we fucking think, maybe an idea that I knew about or a concept I understood at one time didn't resonate with me as so much until I got to a point in my life where I had the bandwidth to understand it better. So things have been around forever as far as shooting, right, and teaching and whatnot. But I start seeing the importance of them based off of my experience teaching people things, right? So this profound thing that's not so profound is the doubles drill. And basically what people do is you get to a distance, maybe 4, maybe 7, maybe 10 yards away at a target that maybe an A zone. An A zone is just a big rectangle that replicates the critical area that you want to engage on a person in a self-defense situation from the front or from the side profile, right? That's what an A zone is modeled after. So rectangle. We've got this. This could mimic an A zone, right? This big dot. So how fast can I shoot that, right, and be acceptably accurate, meaning not the perfect group, just within the confines of the target zone, like I'm in that black, right? That's acceptable, right? So that's what I mean by acceptable accuracy. This is what we're trying to work on. Now, when I am at 4 yards and I'm shooting at this big black dot, assuming I lock everything in correctly and I'm not moving the gun every time I press the trigger, I just let this move. So the marksmanship definition, align the gun, don't move it when you press the trigger. That's all we're doing, right? I need to keep my eyes, well, it'd be beneficial for you to keep your eyes on what you're trying to hit. Like when I point at something, I look at that, and I don't double check to make sure I'm pointing at him, right? But when we're shooting and learning how to shoot well, we're so worried about, am I going to shoot the right thing or not? So you're always like, eyes there. All right, what's my finger doing? Or what's he doing? All right, is it aligned? Let me see, right? So after many repetitions and many exposures to what the gun does, the behavior of that gun with you, you start to rely on what you're seeing. I see that the gun is generally aligned here, and I press the trigger, and it comes back there, and I press the trigger again, right? I would press that trigger as fast as I could, right, if I'm getting the result that I want. And even if I don't get a result, I still press the trigger as fast as I can to see what the target is telling me, right? So this doubles drill that we do, I've been doing it dry, because doubles drill is essentially you lock the gun in, right? I aim, I keep my eyes on the target, and I'm mindful or I'm aware of what the sights are doing. Now, if you got a red dot sight, it might be just being aware of that red dot in the window. If I got iron sights, I got to generally be aware of two things kind of being aligned. I'm not looking at them, I'm just aware of them. Just like I'm looking at you, but I'm aware of you standing here. I'm looking at you, I'm aware of the camera here. All right, I'm looking at you though. My eyes are here. There's the camera here. All right, I'm looking at the 10. The 10 is there. My eyes are on the 10 and what's happening down there, right? But I am aware that there's sights in front of my eyes, right? And I'm keeping them there. And the better my grip is, the more consistent I am with the interaction with the gun, the less I got to worry about this thing moving anyway, right? So the doubles drill looks like this. Do 2 shots as fast as you can with the gun locked in, eyes on the target, aware of the sights being aligned on the target, right, for that acceptable accuracy. And I just press the trigger as fast as I can. And I do it repeatedly. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That little break in between, I like to think of that as giving me that time to process what's happening, right? But I really am trying to press that trigger. I don't care if you slap it, whatever you do with the trigger at this distance, it's acceptable to slap the trigger a little bit at that large size of target at this distance, right? So the point is, do not slow down. Don't aim, prep the trigger, 1, 2. I want to press as fast as I can move that trigger, right? I'm seeing what's happening downrange. So let's talk about the grip part of it. Then we'll get back to the eyes. If my grip is not doing the right thing, and I press that trigger real fast, I get the first shot, assuming that I was aligned, and the second shot is going to be high probably because the gun recoils like this, yeah? So if I'm not controlling the gun, it's going to go up, right? If I am anticipating, right, I'm looking there and I shoot and I feel the gun move a little bit and I drive back down, I'll probably end up shooting low, right? Because I feel the gun moving and I'm like, no, don't do that. And then my big body, which is easily going to beat this gun, is going to push that gun back down and the gun's going to do what I told it to do. You want me to shoot low? Okay, I'll shoot low. You want to let me flop and shoot high? Okay, I'll shoot high, right? If I have a reliable grip, the right amount of interaction with the gun that keeps it right on target, right? And I yank the trigger, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and it comes back. I'm aware of the sights. I'm seeing where it's hitting. I'm looking at the target, right? It should go back generally where I'm pointing, right? It's a great trial and error drill, right? You can use a lot of bullets doing that if you're doing it live fire. So we want to do it dry, right? So if I got Mick up here, I can mimic a lot of that. It's not going to be exact. So I can go ahead,
I'll do it with my real gun so that how we're going to do it.
Okay.
Just so we can see.
So Mick, I'm paying attention. I see Mick has got iron sights, so we'll talk about that. But I'm going to go ahead and do what Paul's doing. I'm making sure. I see his grip is generally okay right here. I see his wrists are aligned and tight, right? He's got good interaction with both hands of the gun. If there was somebody new, I might say, hey, chalk it in there a little bit like Paul's talking about. Look, I got the front, I got the back. Push them together, chalk it in there so it doesn't move, right? One thing I tell people is let your support hand work hard. Let it work hard, right? Now, he's going to stay out. I'm going to keep my hand on his shoulder because Paul and I like to have this little risk mitigation to make sure I don't get too far in front of the gun. So hand on the shoulder, right? Never going to go in front of the muzzle. I'm coming to the front. I'm going to tell Mick, hey, I want you to keep your eyes on that 10, the very center of that 10. Drive your eyesight there. But be aware of what these iron sights are doing. You see generally that red or orange on the front of your iron sight is in between those 2 black mountains in the back, or peaks, or whatever you want to call them, right? So he's there. I was like, now I'm going to chop your gun right in front of the trigger guard, right under the muzzle area, right, to mimic the recoil, right? As I do it, I'm going to do 2 chops at a time, just like you're going to be doing when we let you work the trigger when we shoot live, right? Mm-hmm. So go ahead and present, eyes on target, aware of the sights, yeah? Mm-hmm. Working the grip. Eyes on target. Don't follow the little butterfly in your face that says, look at me, right? I'm going to do it faster, fast as I can do it. Driving it to the target, to the target, to the target, right? Now if his grip was loose, make it a loose grip. Right, eyes there. Look how long it takes to return. Look at that. So if he shoots that fast as he can, that second shot is over those trees potentially, right? Now if Mick feels that looseness and he starts driving back into the gun, so give it a little body pressure after I get into it. Look, he's trying to drive it back down. If he tries to drive it back down, he will drive it back down. Is that where we want it to go though, necessarily? I want it to go where my eyes are looking, right? So I like this little drill because we can save bullets, right? I can still get the effect of the recoil. I can still mimic that recoil to the degree that it can test my grip, right? And biggest thing that I get out of this is my eyes are working. I want my eyes, like you were saying, Jersey, you started doing that, kind of predictive shooting, they call that, right? I've got the gun aligned. I'm not really confirming a crisp alignment. I'm putting it there, and I'm pressing the trigger as fast as I can because I know that I'm keeping the gun aligned with the target. So the second bullet, I didn't see the sights. I just continually kept it aligned, right? Aware of the sights because I'm going to do multiple reps of this. So I keep driving it back to that spot, right? Now, if we took Mick and we went back to the speaker line maybe, right? Maybe 15, 20 yards, same target. And Mick goes back there and he locks it in, gets a good sight picture at first, an acceptable sight picture, right? Acceptable sight picture back there, though, is that going to look the same as acceptable sight picture here? Why? Target zone's going to be a lot smaller relative to where Mick is at that point, right? So he's looking, his sights might be covering up the target. So now if he tries to do that predictive shooting, that lock it in and just yank that trigger as fast as you can, he's probably not going to be very accurate within the target zone area that we've allowed for him, this circle here, right? The distance changed things, or the size of the target relative to him changed things, right? So then he can't really just look at the target and be aware of the sights, unless you got a red dot sight, which that's what you always do. But if I got iron sights, I got to kind of make sure that they're aligned a little bit better because I've got less room for error. So let me align them up, make them a little crisp. And now I can still shoot pretty fast, but I might just have to confirm, right? More reactive to the gun at that point. He might have to confirm. So if he's shooting this, say pretend that's your target now, Mick. Now, line it up. Does it almost cover? Is it pretty small? Take a step back. So pretend that's the same target. He just went back further, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard for him to just, you think that's going to be accurate in that number one every time?
No.
Right? So what's he going to have to do? Boom. Where's the sight? Boom. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Right? So he could still shoot as fast and as acceptably accurate as possible for the situation given, right? But he's not going to be able to shoot as fast as we were doing in the initial drill, right? Target's smaller, right? He's got to make sure it's aligned to some degree. So that's more reactive. I got to see what's going on. It's confirmed. Now I press to the trigger. Up close, though, bigger targets, right? Assuming your grip is doing what it's supposed to do, I can just look at the target, be aware of the sights. Obviously, I don't want any gross misalignment, right? But that's what my body's doing. I'm keeping it right there. I pointed at it. I seen it was there. As long as I maintain that, I don't really have to confirm the sights so much. I'm just aware, just aware. Now, the pitfalls that you have with this is something's moving in front of your face. So what does humans do? Something's moving in front of my face. Oh, there's a gnat in front of me, right? Right? You know what I mean? So you're gonna look at it. So you keep getting exposed to it, right? And eventually you do it. You want to, oh, what's that sight doing? I start looking, instead of looking at Mick's face, I start looking at my thumbs moving. Like, well, they could just be pointed anywhere, and then you start missing, right? So we don't want that. We want to continuously tell ourselves, hey, there. Even though there's a butterfly in front of my face, focus on what I'm supposed to focus on, right? And then if that's not your issue, you're seeing what you need to see, but you see that the gun is floppy, then what's my focus? Well, maybe I need to squeeze. I need to chalk it a little bit better. I'll give them that pinky pressure at the bottom, high and the tight in the back, chalking the bottom here, pushing it in, right? Those small things. So it kind of encompasses everything that we want you to do for shooting in this one little drill, right? And get you multiple reps quickly, right? And we can even do it dry like I just showed you before we start wasting all our bullets and trying to figure things out. Not wasting bullets. We're getting data. We're not wasting them, but I'd rather get some data before I have to shoot the bullets. Does that make sense? So driving wise, right? Everybody's a driver, drive a car, right? You can drive down the road in a big multi-lane highway and not look at the car beside you to make sure you're missing them. You just look straight and be aware of that car so you know not to hit them, right? But when I'm backing out of my driveway and I got tight tolerances, do you just do that and just whip through? No, you look exactly at what you're trying to see. So that's the difference in that predictive versus that reactive based off of the situation you're given. I'm not backing slowly out of my driveway with a boat behind me, trying to make sure I don't run into the ditch or clip something, right? I'm up close. I just need to get through this one space. Let me wiggle through. I just pay attention to what's in front of me. I'm aware of the cars beside me, but I know I can wiggle through. tolerances aren't as tight. Up close, these guns don't have to have that tight tolerance. Align it, lock it in, press that trigger as fast as you can do it. Back there, tighter tolerances. Let me confirm. I don't want to miss here. Still locked in, but let me confirm with my eyes a little bit that it's where it's supposed to be. Questions on that? So you want to do the drill, Nick? So the drill, I'm going to talk you through it. I'll get you with your partner. We'll do our odds first, and I'll walk you through everything. Cool? Get on the line. Make sure we don't mess up and go in front of their muzzles, right? So our odd guys, go ahead and present your gun, your dry gun, at the, what are you, number 5 or 10?
5.
You're at number 5. Present it at number 5, right? And hold it in the way that you would actually shoot. Now, my even guys, without going in front of the gun, you're going to come in front of the trigger guard, up under the muzzle, and I want you to tap it as if you're mimicking recoil twice as fast as you can. Tap, 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 just like that. Tap, 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 tap. Continue. Tap, 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 tap. All right, relax. Bring the gun in. So now, gun's going to stay out, right? In compressed ready. We're going to present it. Now when you're tapping that gun, mimicking that recoil, I want you, as the coach, the guy that's tapping the gun, to remind them of what they're looking at. Keep your eyes on the target. Be aware of the sights, right? And if you feel it being loose, remind them about their grip. They should pick up on that, though. They'll feel it if the gun's floppy, right? Don't drive it back down. I don't want to drive the gun lower than the target. I don't want to let it be floppy and go higher than the target. I want to keep it right on line, so I just need to chalk it in place. I don't need to give it any input except hold the gun, right? Does that make sense? Now, if you want to, guys, you can put your finger on the trigger however you want. We know we're dry, I don't really mind, right? I don't think it's going to help you that much. Or you can keep your finger straight, that's fine. But your coach buddy is chopping the gun to mimic those double drills. Let's do it, do about 20 reps, and when you're done, just compress ready. I know you're done. On you. Tap, 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 tap. Drive it back. Too quickly. Tap, 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 tap. As if he's pulling that trigger and just rat-a-tat-tatting on that thing. Tap, 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 tap.
The thing that Z's talking about predictive shooting, I can't do that until I've written software of seeing this happen enough times. And I have to see it in dry fire and live fire enough times to then be able to predict where it's going to happen. How many of you in your life have dried your hands at a bathroom, dried your hands off, taken the paper towel and went, and then as it left your hand, you went, it's in. You ever done it? And it's not faith. You knew something in your brain computed trajectory, speed, mass, wind, and it fucking went in, right? Have you done that? Or you've grabbed a basketball, like I'm not very good at basketball, but you shoot and something in your brain says it's in, and then you watch it go in, right? You can't do that if you didn't do that. Does that make sense? Yes. So we're going to shoot target zone 4, okay? We're gonna do strings of 3, 4, 5 rounds. I'll tell you the round count, okay? Drive the gun to the target, see the sights on the target, press the shot, shoot as fast as you can get hits. If you miss, make up the miss. Understand? So it's not 3 or 4 loud noises, it's hits. Got it? How many of you have ever had this happen? You're driving and you see another motorist on their phone and you get upset. Yes? Because you, unlike that moron, has the ability to put your fucking eyes on a phone and not the road. He doesn't because he's dumb. But you can. Can't you? That's how you feel. But you don't actually have any superhuman ability. Shooting and everything really comes down to our ability to take our focus, especially something like shooting, and make it get very compartmentalized very quickly. And then you take somebody that's really, really good at it, J.J. Racaza, or somebody like that, Max Michel, Robbie Latham. All they're really good at doing is pointing a fucking tube at something over and over again. That's it. I mean, Rob is not physically fit. He'll tell you that. He calls himself the old fat man. He's not physically fit, but he can point a fucking metal tube really quick. And if you took and like just took all the shooting sequences and then took all the other bullshit out, all the movement, all you'd see is just this. Bang, 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 bang. And then he'd move and then bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. It's just the same shit. And then we make it all like, you know, we add a bunch of junk that don't need to be. Does that make sense?